Well, hey y'all, it's Deanna. Welcome to my channel. This is a little bit of a talk about how I'm going to protect my tomatoes and my peppers tonight because it's going to be 36 degrees overnight. And yes, that's not freezing weather, but that's kind of chilly. And tomatoes and peppers aren't real fond of that. So I have my tomatoes and peppers bunched together outside, and then there's some in the greenhouse. So anyway, this is a set of tomatoes, and there's one pepper here, and I'm just going to cover them with a sheet and make sure it's pinned down so it doesn't blow up, because it's going to be windy, which also would affect the temperature for wind chill. So anyway, that's that one. I had to move some around. Like, I had a couple of tomatoes sitting here and a pepper. I think I put the pepper in the greenhouse, and then I moved the tomatoes over here with this group of, this was just peppers, and now I've added 2 tomatoes, and no, I added 3 tomatoes, because this tomato came from over here. Oh, and we're also going to talk about my squash and pumpkins. But anyway, that tomato was sitting right there, and now it's over here. And I could have left these everywhere, but it's a whole lot easier to cover them in a group than to spend the time walking around covering 1 tomato or 2 tomatoes. I can get them all in one little grouping. Here's some pumpkins and squash. And I have a blanket, I think a sheet too, but I have a blanket that's big enough to cover these. So I'm going to cover those. And then I'm going to cover this squash, which won't be difficult because it's by itself and it's still kind of small. And then I have a Kajari melon, which looks absolutely pitiful, but I'm going to cover it. There were 2 here, but something dug them up. Drug one of them off, I think, and the other one is in there, and it's not going to recover. So I don't think it's going to recover, but that one's still alive, so I will cover it. And then let me get through here. I had a pepper over here that I took in the greenhouse. No, maybe it was a tomato. Y'all, I've forgotten. But anyway, I took 1 plant that was over here into the greenhouse, and then I moved 2 more to this little section, and of course I'll cover it like I told you I was going to cover the first one. I don't have to worry about covering the kale because it's kale, and the celery either. I think the celery will handle 35 degrees just fine, or 36. Plus it's kind of guarded from the wind, and when I have a sheet here it'll be even more guarded. So I had a pepper right there that I have moved over here with this little group excuse me, of tomatoes, and I'll cover those. Then I have 2 tomatoes and 2 peppers that they've been sitting there since I can't remember, one night when it got into the 40s, because I've been covering things when it's like 50 or less, maybe 55 or less. It just depended. But unless it was raining, I didn't cover anything. But I covered I'm gonna cover those. Over here, it's just a blueberry, and I may cover it, I may not. It'll probably be fine because it's a blueberry. I took my lemon tree and put it on the porch, and I'm gonna cover it. I don't know if I'll cover my nasturtiums or not. If I do, I'll just put a plastic sorry, the trash man's here. I'll be back. I gotta take him some trash. Okay, I'm back. I didn't make it to catch him before he left, so anyway, he pulled out of the neighbor's yard real quick. So anyway, I will probably cover them with an empty plastic pot. The nasturtiums and my zinnias and my cosmos. I think I've got pots that are tall enough to cover them. Yeah, it's not freezing, but those things don't like cold weather. Not a whole lot. They've done all right in the nights, with nights in the 40s, but I don't know about the 30s. So I moved a table and it's a table and a two stand tables, or stands, whatever you want to call them. I moved those out so I could get a few extra plants in here. So I moved some tomatoes and peppers, and I moved my culantro in here. I moved my viola, however you say that, in, only so it didn't blow down. And while I was doing all that, I staked up some of my tomatoes that have been living in the greenhouse. The tomatoes that are living in the greenhouse until it gets warm enough to move them out, because I'm only covering so many at a time when it's nights in the 40s. I'm just not going to cover everything. Anyway, the ones living in the greenhouse are happier than the ones living outside. Though they've been in pots, the containers longer, even so they're happier. And I think that may have to do with more stable temperatures, maybe, because they are getting a little bit of wind in here and movement when I have the doors and the little windows open. So there is movement of air. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking that one, it's more stable temperatures, and two, they've been in containers longer, maybe. They weren't in the cups as long as some of these were. But these got planted directly outside from the greenhouse, but still directly outside. And they're just not as happy. Like the ones in the cups aren't real happy. And I'm working on getting them planted slowly but surely. If you've seen my videos, you know this greenhouse was pretty full of cups. And I've got it narrowed down to here and over there, with 3 or 4 scattered in here. But that's the only thing I can think is the stability of the temperatures. And they were planted in pots sooner, or earlier. They didn't stay in the red solo cups and the clear cups as long. And also, they haven't been beat to death by the wind like the ones outside. So, anyway, that is how I'm going to hopefully save my peppers and tomatoes from the cold tonight. I know these will be fine, and the ones that are going to get covered by sheets and blankets will probably be fine, but I'm not willing to risk losing them all. I've worked too hard on it, and I'll be upset if I lose them after covering them, but at least I will have tried. So, all right, y'all, that is all of that. Just an update on saving some plants from some cold weather. All right, y'all have a good one. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye now.